All right, we are officially live. You think they can guess who you are just by your voice?
I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can.
Can you guys hear that beautiful voice?
Who is it?
Who is this masked man?
Who is it? Lynn says hello. Hello. Marlo says, oh, hell yeah. Hey, D.
Oh, you already gave it away in the chat.
I shouldn't have put that, but I think they got my voice, though.
It's pretty distinctive.
It is. Oh, wait, hold on. That's me echoing. I got it. I guess I got to have the comments open on my phone. It's muted now. Hey, Olivia. Hey, Just Pam. Lisa. Purdue.
Yeah, it's filling up, man.
Deb. Ivy.
12 cut. Charlie.
See, Just Pam said, nah, I knew his voice.
Nice.
I was supposed to be on last night, but I clunked out at 7:30 p.m. and woke up at 5 in the morning.
Nice. You must have needed it. You picked a good time to clonk out because our watch party kind of failed.
What happened?
I couldn't get around the copyright.
Oh, yeah. They do that. They do that. And what you were, I saw it was what Dr. Phil you were doing?
Yeah, it's a good episode too, man.
It is, but they're pains in the asses.
I recommend it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
So it's been what? It's got to be like at least 2.5 months we've been live together.
Really? That long?
Yeah, it's been that long, man. Yeah, it's been that long.
Wow.
It's just been one thing after another in my life that just had me away for a bit, but I am back. Kids start school next week, and be on to a weekly lives. Hello there, Zen Monkey. How are you?
Are you gonna start going weekly?
Well, multiple times weekly. I have to do a day where I have to do the Reddit the Red Talk lives. I got to do one a week. So that plus YouTube, be busy. Plus hanging out with you, be busy times.
Yeah, I've seen the recent activity on your channel. I like the points that you're trying to make. It always makes me think, and it puts me in a place where I can start kind of thinking creatively and start. It kind of gets the will moving. So I appreciate that, dude. Honestly,
good. I'm glad it helps. You got to be able to see some things and pull from it, because there's even, let me tell you, we'll talk after because I know you want to start with some other stuff, but that so-called search is bizarre to me. Nobody's watching it at night. It's weird. There's some weird things about it. I know there's a lot of cops there, but it's just.
I couldn't wait to get your opinion on it. What are you seeing? Have you seen searches in when you were active and stuff like that?
Yeah, no. My precinct in the city had water all over, so we had scuba units all the time. The NYPD scuba unit, and this is a strange one because yes, they have 20 cars there on the busiest days. They're all in the water, but they wrap up and just leave. If they're looking for something serious, you would have somebody stationed there watching that all night long. Nobody's watching it. They're just bouncing. 4 o'clock, the whistle blows. That's why, to me, in the beginning, I'm like, this looks like training. I've done HIDA training, which was 2 weeks long, and that's in New York City. It's they built like a city, buildings and everything else.
Let me ask you this real quick before I lose my question here.
Yeah.
If this group of people that's out there searching the water, for the last 2 weeks, if they can't find it, what would be the fear of somebody coming down? Maybe just knowing exactly where to look, maybe?
Knowing if it's something like, let's say, I know it's the murder weapon. Okay, say that's the murder weapon. That's heavy. That's going to sink, and it's going to be in a pretty distinct area of where you threw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit strange to me. It is. It's I talked to another guy on Reddit who's a retired guy. He's like maybe 71, 72, nice guy. And he said the same thing. We were just talking in DM. And he's like, there are some weird things about it that just are strange. To me, is it because you have, if you look at the cars there, you have a bunch of trucks and then you have a bunch of cars. Is it a training exercise to get into the unit? Because I've done multiple trainings that are 2 weeks long. My motorcycle training was 2 weeks. My IDA training was 2 weeks. My accident vehicle reconstruction was 2 weeks. It's just, I don't know. It's weird.
But why does it coincide with Keegan being brought into ISP custody and unsealing
I know.
and
I
sealing
agree.
of the
I
documents
agree.
and all that? It's all tied in, right? Not to mention the information with the gas station that was leaked out by the murder sheets. It's all, it can't be
it's
a
all
coincidence.
relevant. It's all relevant. My personal opinion is that the murder weapon went to Vegas with them. That's just my opinion on it. You know, but could I be wrong? I could be wrong. It could be right there. You know,
I was also thinking, if it was a training exercise, why not train somewhere where you might find something at a place where you might suspect the weapon to be? You know, maybe you got a tip or something.
Well,
along
because
those
they want
lines.
to you want to train in a shallow water. You know, you don't want to train in 8 foot of depth. You know, if they're just learning. You know, so there was only a couple guys who had the full scuba gear on.
I only seen
Another
one.
couple guys. There was 2. I think there was one on one side, one on the other. Then you had the other guy with the snorkel. I mean, it's just from afar, it's bizarre. It is a little bit bizarre.
Maybe
you know?
that's why it's bizarre. Maybe it is training. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 professionals out there.
I mean, you got guys, you know, the first few days they got their nerps out, shirts. So it's weird. If you're a scuba unit, you're in the NYPD, you have an attire, and that's what you wear. You wear your wetsuit. If it's cold, you got the heavier wetsuit on. People are saying, well, it's hot out. They're in water. You know what I'm saying? You're in water, you know? It's just, I don't know.
So are you leaning towards training then, maybe, with that laxed behavior?
If they had a car sitting there all night, I would say they're searching for something. I'm not taking away that they're not, but not protecting, not locking the scene down 24/7 for 12 days now just doesn't make sense. But again, I could be wrong. You know, I could be wrong. This might be how they handle their searches. I don't know. We would never do that. Any search we were on, the scene is locked down. There's nobody entering that water.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like you wouldn't stop searching. Once the search starts, it's like an all-night thing. You know,
well, I mean, you're gonna lose light and everything else. So if you can't get you know, the United rental lighting gear in, or even a fire truck with the right lighting to aim down, you would still lock it down for the night. Yeah. Because if you look, they're leaving the markers there for the weekend. The markers are sticking out. But
maybe there is somebody out there.
I don't know. I mean, could there be? Yeah. I mean, there could be.
Maybe some security cameras.
It's just strange to me. It really is. It's just strange to me.
Yeah, the whole thing looks very strange.
It is. It's very weird.
But that's why I couldn't wait to get your opinion on things, because, you know, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what to expect. You know, so to hear you say that, you know, it just kind of confirms what I was already thinking.
And another thing I'll also say is that, you know, if you heard, what was it, maybe 3 episodes ago, I mean, Murder Sheet, they're also there for clicks. I'm not saying that their info isn't real or relevant, but the episode they put out about Doug Carter having a helicopter lowered to 1,100 feet because he was looking at a plant that Tony Klein didn't work at was ridiculous. It was a waste of airtime. You know, but that's just, you know, I mean, people
they pick and choose. Yeah, and people pick and choose, you know, what they want to listen to. Me, I'm just open to all of it.
No, I'm open to it all too. I am. And listen, they're in Indianapolis, so they got their ear to the ground. So they're picking up good stuff. They are. You know, someone's feeding them. And then we could also get into the retired FBI agent, Jennifer Coffindaffer, how wacky she is.
Yeah, what's that all about?
She's stuck on Ron Logan, but the problem with that is she's a retired FBI agent.
Who's the other guy that messed up the footage from the Marathon gas station? What's his name? Retired.
Well, you have Nicole Robertson,
Larry Nassar guy.
Yeah, but yeah, he was involved with that. But you had Nicole Robertson, the agent who wrote Ron's search warrant. Mm-hmm. So the problem with this woman stating that she feels it's Ron Logan, is that her personal opinion, or is she friends with, you know, Nicole Robertson? You know, does she have inside info? And that just puts, you know, a little bit for the family shouldn't be getting knocked out weekly. You know, like to have that being, you know, put around all over Reddit. They see that you have her saying it's a man who died 2 years ago that was 80 years old. It's just ridiculous. But that's where we are, man. People just have no respect.
I always just thought it was like a formality, like it was something. Hey, you know, this is our prime suspect, Occam's razor, um, kind of like textbook
Once
persuading of a judge, I guess.
one
Like I said,
once
I
his
don't know.
you listen to my Red Talk. Once his alibi busted, they went all in on him, man. They did. That affidavit could have been copy and pasted to an arrest affidavit. That's how overkill it was.
It
Was
does look
over
suspicious,
detailed.
though. It's like
It does.
you're hiding something, but we don't know what it is yet. But we know. But
I mean, the whole thing with Ron is, did he make a mistake by getting an alibi? 100%. What was it for? I don't really get the whole thing of it, but at the same time, he really was in fear that they were coming after to get his land, and on top of that, to take him down.
well, they could be. I mean, we really don't know. We really don't know.
Well,
honestly.
supposedly, the McCains wanted his property for years. That's been put out there forever.
Yeah.
I just seen photos about after they left that nobody was there. That's just what I'm seeing from afar. I mean, I'm not Indiana, so I can't say for a fact.
Those are the postings from locals too, that there's nobody out there.
There's nobody out there. No, once they leave, they wrap up and every vehicle bounces. They're gone.
And here's a good question. The Unsolved says, we're assuming they have not found anything yet. Maybe they have and we don't know it. There's no way this is training. Maybe they have found something and they're looking for the other
something else.
Yeah, something else. Multiple items. Yeah, it's very possible.
You know, could he have thrown hard drives in there? The whole thing is, I know that people said somebody saw him supposedly, and his attorney was with him.
Yep.
The only reason that bothers me for Delphi is his attorney cannot do anything to do with Delphi because he has a court-appointed attorney. So you can only use your court-appointed attorney for a charge you are charged, a crime you're charged with, not for something that you're being interviewed about or interrogated about, because that's on the taxpayer's dime. So that's the only thing that also.
And we would know if there was charges, right? Or what if that's part of the confidentiality?
Well, listen, if Keegan is the missing piece, I know a lot of people are even talking about that. He's going to get a huge deal on his 30 felonies. He is.
Mm-hmm. And he should. If he hands the case up on a platter.
Exactly. But if he was at the crime scene, he is not getting immunity. And that's just the way it is. You know, if say he was really just, sitting in the car or sitting in, that character's garage while this took place, then, he holds the key, but he wasn't there. If he was there, he's not getting away with it. He's not getting away with it.
He may not have been there, but he definitely, if he was stuck there at that Country Club Road location and they showed back up, they were talking about it. And he's like, the killer would have been like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but things didn't go as planned. I got to get rid of these clothes. You need to get rid of these weapons, Well,
I also think that's why they went to Vegas. That would be a protective alibi in their heads. But I also feel like Daddy's friend, who was retired LE, might have assisted.
Yeah, you and Fig made a good point. You guys were telling me maybe they went down there. Like, let's say Tony's not involved at all. Just stick with me here. He's not involved at all. Son comes to him and says, hey, look, I'm an accessory after a fact. And basically, I was used as a patsy. What do I do? I'm involved in the double murder that you're seeing all over the news. Well, we need to go to Vegas to see my cop friend. We'll ask him what we need to do. Plus, you'll be close to Mexico. If they know it's you, you'll be right there. We'll get advice. So you guys kind of mentioned to me that maybe he was down there getting advice, trying to get some assistance, waited out. And then maybe when they saw, hey, they don't think it's us, let's head back.
Yeah, I also think they dump stuff there too. No better place than dump shit in the desert, No better, sell something too. I mean, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he was trying to, it seems, according to
And
the
also,
affidavit
not
or the
just so I
documents.
have it in my head, because we talked about it many times. When you read Ron Logan's search warrant affidavit, how it goes into detail that they feel some kind of photo or video was taken of the crime scene. I feel that did they see a tripod indentation in the ground? Because they were very hard on photos, storage devices, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. There's a reason that they're going that way.
Other
It's just
photos
not
too.
a hunch.
They say that there's more video and footage out there as well. That doesn't necessarily mean that the footage and the video is taken from Liberty herself. There's other
Yeah.
people out there, so maybe they captured something. Maybe they
Well,
have more information, a
I think the
tripod or
killer did
something.
something. Yeah, I think the killer did something, and they have some kind of tripod indentation at the crime scene, because you wouldn't go into
Staging.
that much detail if that search warrant affidavit had facts in it. They were all facts. It's overkill facts. So to go into that, they're looking for storage devices, any photography, blah blah blah. It tells me that they figured something out by that crime scene, that something was filmed or pictures were taken.
Hmm.
It's deep. That's why we always talk. This case has just so many twists and turns, and it just keeps turning and going. You know.
All right. Well, before we get too deep into it,
Go
let's
ahead.
go ahead and jump into this little exercise I wanted to go over with you guys here. Let's see here. Let me share my screen real quick. So before we dive into Delphi, I want to share a little something. I was working on content for another project, killers hiding in plain sight kind of stuff, and I was looking at publishings about serial killers, their patterns, and I stumbled upon an article from Psychology Today. Looks like here it's titled "Serial Killers Hiding in Plain Sight" by Catherine Ramsland. She's a PhD.
Okay.
This was posted February 1st, 2020, and this is a small excerpt here. I recently saw a list of 20 serial killers and their zodiac signs. The author provided stats for how many were Gemini or Virgo and noted with relief those signs that were linked to none. She clearly
Hey,
didn't know that the list was vastly incomplete by several thousand killers, but that's no surprise. Most people are unaware of serial killers who've gotten little to no
hey,
media attention,
I
but
don't
that's
want to
changing.
interrupt you. I
Yeah,
don't want to interrupt you, but wife Lilith, that's in the chat right now.
yeah.
I believe she's friends with Keegan,
Hmm.
and she wrote a lot of comments on a couple of my videos. So I don't know if she wants to give any more info, because she's adamant that Keegan never left the jail, that he was just interviewed in an interrogation room, and she's written
Would,
this all week.
would she know?
She's both. I've been told that she is friends with Keegan. That might even be his current girlfriend. So I don't know if she wants to address any of that. I asked her to email me. She never did. But I don't. Can you see all her comments?
I believe I know who she is, but I mean, I couldn't. I mean,
She
how do
said,
we
"Oh
verify that?
Lord, I would know if Keegan left the freaking jail. He went to another unit for 24 hours by himself. No one else was on that unit at all." Yeah, she's been adamant that he never left the jail, and it's been all over the place. So, but let's continue. I just wanted to address that because it's everywhere for the last week.
Oh, hey, what's up, Derek? Tracy Walker from Lafayette, Indiana. Oh, that's horrible.
That is horrible, but I'm telling you, it's not about Keegan or Delphi. So yeah, I'm saying just
Well, if that's her narrative, that's what she's gonna, if that's what she's
no, I know,
hoping
yeah,
for. She's gonna keep saying that.
she's gonna keep saying it.
All right, let's see here. Where was I? Okay, so basically, this article is talking about how there's some correlation between zodiac signs and serial killers. I'm not big into astrology really at all, but I did think it would be kind of fun to take a look at the serial killers and their zodiac signs just for shits and gigs, and we'll kind of get an idea of what people have as far as their signs and what they're kind of looking like here. Mine wasn't high up there.
No, Which ones are high up there? Where's Aries land on that?
Let's take a look. Pretty high, I think. So here, list of serial killers and their signs. So Ted Bundy. So the work that I'm doing is on the 5 serial killers: Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, BTK, and the Green River Killer. They were all active in the 90s, so I'm doing a documentary on all that. So it brought me to this, and I notice here Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces. Couple Virgos here, but they
I don't
did
see
not.
any Aries.
Oh, you're right.
I guess
Here,
we're
well,
not
let me go.
killers.
Yeah, you're not killers. Let's see what this has to say. On another website, it says here the signs most to least likely to be serial killers. Aries is number 5. But I didn't agree with this one because it doesn't really correlate with that other list.
Yeah, I agree with you because that other list shows some wild serial killers that I think Virgo was high up on. Sagittarius is on there. So yeah,
but it didn't have Dennis Rader. So I was curious. So let's take a look here. I was wondering why, because he's the one, when you think of hiding in plain sight, that's who I was thinking of generally. So
I'm sure you've watched plenty on him at how he describes. He describes it like he went out to get dessert and then had a cigarette. That's how he describes killing people.
He's cold-blooded. He's calculated. We'll watch we're going to watch just short clips of him.
You know what really disturbs me about him is how he would kill the children and not even think twice about it. That's just damn.
He's like up, and then I killed the child. He's just going. It was almost like a to-do list that he had that night.
Yeah.
But those of you who don't know who Dennis Rader is, he was born March 9th. 1945. He's an American serial killer known as the BTK. That's an abbreviation he gave himself, according to law enforcement. It means bind, torture, kill. Or the BTK strangler, or he also liked the BTK killer. So between 1974 and 1991, he killed 10 people in Wichita and Park City, Kansas. And he sent taunting letters to police and media outlets describing the details of his crimes. We're going to look at some of that crazy stuff. But after a decade-long hiatus, Rader resumed sending letters in 2004, and that's basically how he got caught. So it was almost like he wanted to be caught, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he did. I think that he got to a point where, living with it all was a lot. Even when he speaks with the judge, it's just... You ever see the picture of him on that swing thing with the mask on and the underwear?
Yes.
It's bizarre. Yes. You got to try and find that show.
So bizarre.
Because anybody seeing that would understand how sick this man was.
He's the worst. It doesn't get worse. Here, let's take a look. This will give us an idea a little bit about hiding in plain sight and how sick this guy was. So sick in law enforcement. He was so good at getting away with the crimes. He had to start reaching out.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if our killer's doing this. You think he's reaching out, nobody's paying attention, or nobody's talking about it?
I think we're aiming where we're going.
We're going down the right path.
I think we've been on the right path since December.
Lilith doesn't think so.
Yeah, Lilith. What are you gonna do?
Hey, Michelle. Good to see you.
She's not telling us anything. She's saying the same thing. I would like
she's just hopeful.
Something new. I mean, have her post some screenshots. Even Frank spoke to Keegan briefly. Did you see those that Frank Meister spoke to him?
I saw that.
I mean, he was very reserved. He didn't want to really answer much, but if she's that close with him, send me a screenshot, email me a screenshot of him just saying what he ate for dinner.
That's why I really don't pay. That's why I don't pay. That's why I don't really pay attention to it until I see something along those lines. So I'm gonna back it up. All right, let's take a look at this real quick.
Said the nicest guy in the world. I would have probably gave him a key to watch my dog if I had to and was leaving town.
Rader, a churchgoer here at Christ Lutheran Church in North Wichita, and not just any member of the church, the president of the Congregation Council.
It's consistent with what we had thought all along, was that it was an individual who blended well into the community, was basically invisible to his neighbors and friends and co-workers because he was just an ordinary guy.
Rader, a compliance officer in Park City. Residents knew him as a stickler for detail.
He'd harass you over your grass being over, 6 inches tall or something like that.
But Rader also handled animal control. You're about to see a KSN interview shot with Dennis Rader on animal attacks in Park City.
We've been tracking it down. The dogs are somewhat territorial as well as vicious, and we've been trying to round them up and corral them as best we can, working with the reporting parties of where the sheep were killed.
Business reference books dating back to the 70s show Dennis Rader as an ADT security technician. Key, since police have often thought BTK gained access to homes as a utility employee. We've also learned another piece of information about Dennis Rader that matches what police have thought all along about the BTK killer. He has a history with Wichita State University. An alumni book shows Rader graduated WSU in the late 70s. Police linked a BTK letter to a school copy machine, and the brother of victim Catherine Bright reports BTK asked him if he'd seen him around campus. The haunting question now for police and an entire city, does this voice,
so creepy to see him in that uniform,
match this one?
Yes, you will find a homicide at 43 South Pershing.
Look how sick he is.
That, of course, a
leading
call
them there.
police say was made by...
Yeah, and then they got the same kind of creepy voice in a recording they're trying to compare it to. Yeesh.
By BTK himself. One member of the Christ Lutheran Church tells me he knew Rader for 20 years and never suspected a thing. Apparently, he was not alone.
And a 25-year-old named Nancy Fox.
He called in the murder of Nancy Fox.
Yes, you will find a homicide at 43 South Pershing. Nancy Fox.
The caller said, reporting a homicide. Police went to that address and found Nancy Fox dead, bound and strangled on her bed.
You will find a homicide.
So when you heard this, did it sound like your father?
You can hear like that clip way my father could talk.
How would you describe your childhood with your father?
I pretty much had the American dream, you know, like the 3-bedroom ranch with the big backyard and the Springer Spaniel.
Hiding, I mean, that's the epitome of hiding in plain sight, right?
Yes, it's wild.
He's the president of his church.
Yeah.
How do you suspect the president of your church? That's stupid. That's a conspiracy theory. What's wrong with you? Why would you say that? Why would you make those kind of accusations? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's been a lot of weirdos that hide in the church. It's smart to keep your cover.
Yep.
Dog. And then when I was 4, he built a massive tree house for my brother and I. It was extremely out of the characteristic of my father to be physically abusive.
But his murderous intent never went away.
April 27th, it's 1985. And Maureen Hedge, who just happened to be his neighbor about 6 doors down, becomes victim number 8.
The body was nude and police say badly decomposed. A pair of knotted pantyhose were found lying in the ditch beside it.
So over the next 5 years, he kills 2 more women.
There was 4 other active serial killers at this point in time. You had Ted Bundy. You had John Wayne Gacy. Who was the other one? You had the Green River Killer. And I think...
Was it Dahmer?
Yeah, and Dahmer was the 5th one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were pretty spread out across the United States. How scary is that?
Well, how many? What do they say? There's like, I don't know, 1,000 active serial killers right now in the U.S. They feel something like that. Some crazy number.
Yeah, and it changes pretty much.
It's wild shit.
Gary Ridgway, he was the Green River Killer.
Yeah,
another one out of Seattle. So you had Ted Bundy, who I think he was bouncing from Florida to Seattle. If I'm not mistaken.
I think they still have that open case. I don't know if you ever saw the show. I think it was on A&E maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Killing Fields, where bodies were being dumped in these like wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
It was Louisiana, and they never found the guy either. Pretty wild. Just dumping them in the fields, most were like prostitutes or whatnot.
Yeah, it's sad.
Horrifying.
All right, so we're almost finished with this here.
In September 1986, and Dolores Davis.
After he murdered Dolores Davis, he went silent for a very long time.
After the last killing in 1991, life went on for the Rader family. Carrie going off to college and meeting her future husband.
He just seemed like another regular Wichita dad to me.
Did you see that? It says, who said I was his girlfriend?
That's what I was told.
Yeah, I heard this. I heard that as well. But I didn't pay any mind to it.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird.
It is,
There's a word for that. People who try to, I don't know, was it a relationship prior? Or did you make contact with him after you realized he was a pedophile? Let's see.
Oh, and you ever compare Ron Logan's walk to him? Ron's right leg goes the totally opposite direction as BJ on top of everything else.
I just don't see Ron Logan. The only thing that I have seen while looking at these...
She said it in Delphi After Dark that she was the girlfriend of him.
Where do you see that at? Where do you see that at?
Yeah, Jamie, Long Island serial killer still hasn't been caught. But no new murders in the last, decade? I think 2012 was the last one, right?
Yeah, Lilith, you can call in if you want to. You got some splaining to do.
Just reading the chat.
All right, good to see you, Derek.
So I heard conflicting things on the Marathon gas station.
Okay.
I think you're muted.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
I think we're having that issue again.
You hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Can everybody in chat hear you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Nothing's changed. I think we're having that issue again. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you both. I might have to pop out and pop back in. I can't hear you again.
Sure.
I'll be right back. Gotcha now.
Yeah, you even sound better.
I don't know what it does. I guess sometimes it just hiccups.
And it could be on my end as well.
I think it could just be StreamYard. I think it depends on how many people are running on it.
Yeah, I do everything through Wi-Fi. I need to figure out a way to get like my own little...
Oh, Ethernet. Yeah, plug right in.
Mm-hmm. So you're comparing Kagan to O.J. Simpson, the same person he was looking up, apparently?
Wow.
Or referenced in his interview? That's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say about Keegan is that we know how disturbing of an individual he was. He's a predator, but he was all fine just doing it from within his four walls. The violence was elsewhere in that house. It's the history of violence, just shows from one man. Anybody know what's going on with his foot? Did they take the whole foot? There's been rumors they had like 2 different surgeries to like finish off the foot.
I don't know. It could literally be like a little toe or something.
I think it started as a couple digits, and they took the whole foot, supposedly.
Well, I saw a recent photo of TK, and he was like just hanging out at some game. So
it looked like he was at sitting at like a concert, maybe, right? You saw that picture?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to put it in regards to search.
Well, I know he likes race.
Do you see what French is saying? French feels that how the Patties finally, they finally built up the courage to clean Libby's room out a few weeks back.
Yeah, I applaud them for that. Congratulations to them for that courage.
It took courage, but look, French is saying that the Patties probably threw something in the Wabash in Peru. It just makes no sense. It really doesn't. Why knock a family down that they're living every day they wake up, they're living the same day again until there's justice.
If the family has any involvement, to me, that's something that law enforcement that's the thing that they will catch.
Yeah.
So there's like no reason for like a web sleuth like me to worry about it, because if there's anything law enforcement's going to catch, it's something that they can see on a daily basis. Yeah. They have it. Exactly. Give them some credit.
Yeah. And I've been following that the Kylie Rodney case.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird stuff with that tow truck driver now, that he was there the Saturday, the Friday night was the party, and he was called out Saturday by her, and she was kind of in and out of it, but there was a male with her. The tow truck driver is about 6'3", so he's a little shorter than me, wearing a San Francisco black dark hat with hair coming out the side. He basically described their ex-boyfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really twisted. And the girlfriend, who's a nurse, vouched for the story. I don't know. That case is just there's some weird things going on there.
I haven't had a chance to take a close look.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. Like anything else, you got true crime community around that case, all fighting with each other and jockeying.
Yeah,
that just gets nobody any. It's just people are fighting for they want to be the star. It just doesn't work together. You get a lot further.
I hear a lot of, well, I did that first, or because of me.
I broke it. What are you breaking?
You're not breaking anything. You're
helping. Found her. They found her.
You're helping. Yeah. What you're doing is you're helping.
Yeah.
First or last.
Yeah.
So it's really strange, man. These the way they put their personalities into it all.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah. See, this is the comment here. I just don't get it. I really don't. You got to give them, courage, bravery to finally go in the room and clean it out. But yet, let's knock them down a little more. Let's kick the Patty family over and over again.
Well, what it is, I chopped it up to this. It's when it comes to online sleuthing, there's lazy sleuthing, which we're all guilty of from time to time. Because usually, coincidences, there's not a lot of those going around.
Yeah,
but you have layers to things, and these accusations are like, they come on that first layer, like the painting of the room, and
they're hurtful.
Extremely hurtful.
You're hurting somebody. You're hurting a family.
When the Patties are talking about the painting and the buckets of paint, they're actually remembering a great time just before something really bad happened. To a lazy sleuth, or a sleuth who's being lazy, they're just noticing what's right there on the surface, and they're using that information.
Like, what would be on the wall? What's happening?
Just go a little deeper, please. Like go find something that you don't see in front of you, because it's not like this is something that's hiding in plain sight. It's not going to be something that's obvious. It's something that is hiding. Somebody trying to hide a crime scene and painting walls and scrubbing the floors. That's not hiding in plain sight, really, is it?
And cleaning the floors of the house where they weren't murdered. I mean, come on, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense.
Not to mention all the video and photos they would have been captured on that we don't know about that day.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's true.
So.
It's true. Listen, if it was a family member and those girls knew, they wouldn't have had the fear that Riley described that kept them up for 6 to 8 months. It just, they would have said the person's name in those 43 seconds. Hey, blank, what are you doing here?
And if it was, law enforcement has their eyes completely on it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I don't really have to worry about. I'm not going to discount that 100%, but that's just because I'm an open-minded person. And if we knew, the case would be closed.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and there's certain things that you think about in private, and there's certain things that you don't share. It's okay to have your own personal thoughts about something, and then there's a time to share it here on social media. There's those thoughts as well.
It does nobody any good trashing the family on YouTube, on Reddit, on Facebook, where Becky Patty's a member of so many different pages. She doesn't need to read that. Why ruin her day? You know, I just don't get it.
Do you think she sees it?
Yeah, I do. I do. You know, I do. When murder sheets, the transcripts, that really hurt them. You know,
she
because listen, 5.5 years, they believed social media didn't play a role, and that was just like that's a guilt of how didn't I know, not of guilty of it happening, but how didn't I know? You know.
And behind the scenes, when I was trying to communicate with Julian Powell, she was a big part in behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't know that. She was a big part in making sure the interview took place, and they didn't realize that Mr. Powell was willing. He was a willing participant, and there was concerned members.
You didn't do anything. You did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but she's the one that connected Carroll County and Indiana State Police. They weren't communicating until she didn't suspect it at all. She's like, well, we don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm going to pass it along directly to Holman, this and that.
Good.
She's like, but she had other suspicions already, it seems.
Yeah. Well, you didn't do anything wrong. People want to, try and, it's just people want to knock your credibility and character. That's just the way it goes. It's just you have people out here that aren't here for the right reasons. And when they're trying to character assassinate somebody, they want to get you canceled.
Oh no, I found out why people were trying to get me canceled. They were actually simping for some girl that had a problem with me that I didn't even know about. How ridiculous is that? How pathetic is that?
Man, we're adults. We're not kids.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, what is this, high school? Jamie Hicks, I think, is a content creator. She says they also had audio of the Golden State Killer, which if you've never listened to, that is creepy as hell. Jamie is from Indiana, aren't you? I think I've seen some of your videos.
Oh, really? Jamie has videos up?
Yeah. I believe she's the only content creator regarding the Delphi case that Friend One even had subscribed to on his YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just a tidbit.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Hey,
so what else you been working on? What have you been up to?
Nothing, man. I have a lot of free time.
That's good.
I got about 2 hours of free time extra a day, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I'm addicted to my YouTube channel and hanging out here. So
good.
Yeah.
Your kids start school yet? My kids start next Tuesday. Almost.
Yeah, we've been having a few problems, but they're getting them all worked out.
Good.
Stubborn teens,
That's the way it always is, man. Typesick, you think he's a fireman with LE and military background? Okay. Could be. If he's a volunteer fireman, could be.
The reason the Dr. Phil episode on Delphi is important to me is because Doug Carter answers a lot of specific questions. Dr. Phil asks them, "Do you know what happened? Do you know how these girls died?" They say yes. So, do you think that they were told to go down the hill and then they ran and then they were chased and then it was over? Is that, or is there something we're missing?
No, I feel that the kill site was pre-planned, and that's just analyzing it further and breaking everything down, reading Ron's search warrant. I really feel that they were meant to go where they were, and I feel that plays into just the lay of the land, and the person knew the land.
I got it, Frank. Thank you.
Oh, this person, where is it? Fancy is trying. I don't know. This Ronnie Bald guy, I didn't delete his comments. We had a 16 comment exchange back and forth. Why would I talk to the guy for like 8 hours going back and forth, then delete his comments? I've never deleted one comment off any of my videos. Maybe he did, but I did not. I don't do that. You can go back and there's hundreds of comments in every one of my videos. Nobody's ever accused me of doing it.
YouTube will delete comments as well.
That could be it, but I've never. You can say whatever you want in my comments. I will argue with you, but I have no reason to delete it. And he didn't even really say anything bad, I don't think. Oh God, yeah, there we go. Oh boy, people could be felons. It doesn't mean they kill their kid, their grandchild. I mean, I've dealt with many felons, and they didn't ever hurt their kids. Does it happen? Yes. I don't think it happened here. That's my opinion. You could have a different opinion. That's fine. That's why we live in America. You know, freedom. Oh, I'll call you right. I'll be right back. My little guy's up.
Sure.
If you heard,
sure.
Did you hear him? I'll be right back.
All right, guys. Let's listen to some of this audio here. Crazy. Those are all the different versions of the audio. The first audio that was released early on, some corrected audio that came out in 2019 with the new direction presser, and then the one that Fig kind of found on the HLN special. That one to me sounds like TK. The other ones sound like actually Kagan, which is strange. But honestly, you can't. It could just be regional. Just Pam says marathon conflicting. How do we know KK searched it on the 13th? Who told us that? The murder sheet. Via a source. An anonymous source at that. The juice is back. Goat. That was funny. Sponsored by Bronco.
Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill. 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 Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill.
It's crazy. So I think there's actually more photos available. I mean, this guy looks pretty young right here. So I mean, what if it is like a training exercise? Seems like you got like one professional surrounded by some young folks. I think these were the early photos right here. Yeah, let's bust these out. And when CD jumps back on, we're going to ask him about this. Notice of exclusion of confidential information from public access filed with the trial court clerk. Contemporaneous with the filing of this notice, State of Indiana has filed confidential information under the Indiana rules on access to court records. And that's what that is right there, Rule 5. I looked it up. State of Indiana provides this notice that the confidential information is to remain excluded from public access in accordance with the authority listed below. Peter Dietrich, Chief Deputy Prosecutor, Attorney, Miami County Prosecutor's Office. It's a good question, Chick B. Miss Thing says, another channel discussed the video of DC where he was interviewed and said something to the effect of, when it's solved, there will be lots of families in shock and hurting. I don't remember it. I wonder if that has anything to do with the pedal ring also. I wonder if there's just a lot of people that are going to end up going down also. Yep, that's correct. Dance Shadow Moon 1 says people are always declaring definitively that the killer has to be so and so over and over again. The fact is, we still don't know. Yeah. So I'm saying, if we knew, the case would be over. How do you know? And law enforcement can't even prove it in the courts. So how are you able to prove it to yourself? You know what I mean? It's a strange thing. How are you so convinced if they are unable to convince a prosecutor that they have enough evidence? But yet you have enough evidence. Yeah, Don, it's possible he didn't know. The vast majority, but he actually made that comment in regards to Flora. You got to put things in context. Yeah, and you shouldn't rule things out, but you shouldn't go around worrying about family members, because if they were involved, even neighbors or like friends of the family, law enforcement gets an opportunity to see those guys on a daily basis, request interviews, watch them, ask about them. If it's somebody like that, trust me, that's who law enforcement's going to be able to go ahead and figure things out, if that's what's going on. All right, this one was filed August 19th, 2022. Comes now the state of Indiana by Miami County Chief Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Peter Dietrich, and moves the court to seal the agreed order of the party submitted with the motion as the release of this information would severely hinder the efforts of law enforcement officers in the course of an investigation. I affirm under penalties of perjury, so on and so forth. Again, Peter Dietrich. So right here, motion as the release of this information would severely hinder the efforts. Hey.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. They said no
All
sound,
right.
but I don't know if you were talking or not.
No, my system froze up. I had to restart real quick. You get a chance to take a look at these documents?
Yeah.
Well, what's
Basically,
your opinion?
I know people are confused why they sealed and instantly unsealed. They did that in order to put this document here in that nobody could see. They wanted to seal, whatever they wanted to put in there about what Keegan was doing with them.
Confidential informant, maybe? He's going to be the pointing finger, maybe?
The only issue I have is this related to the CSAM case? Not that that's a bad thing either, because that's a horrendous case in itself. You know what I mean? Because look at the case number that it's filed under. It's filed under his attached Miami County CSAM case.
But I mean, what other charges could they add on to that they don't already have?
Well, if it was connected to Delphi, his court-appointed attorney wouldn't have been there. That's why it's like it's a 50-50 ball. Where is it? Is it to do with Delphi or is it to do with the CSAM case?
Let's say there's no charges, there's nothing going on, but in order to facilitate something potentially being helpful, wouldn't he need his attorney there to kind of make that happen for him?
He would have to if he was talking about Delphi, he would have to get an attorney. That's why when we got the transcripts from the other interview interrogation, the attorney wasn't with him, because anything to do with Delphi, he's on his own.
And didn't he just recently get a new attorney?
Now wait. The only thing that could have the attorney present is if he's giving information and they're working a plea deal out on a CSAM case. That's okay. It's kind of a line. It's tough. Well, I don't know exactly. In New York State, that could play. I think.
Well, follow me here for a second. Okay, let's say he says, okay, I'm going to give you guys something and this is going to break it wide open. They say, okay, Keegan, what are you going to give me? Well, I can tell you where the murder weapon is. Not only that, I can tell you where such and such is. Okay. Well, if you can do that, we'll go ahead and we'll make the deal that you're asking for. We're going to need you to take us out there, show us where you did it, and no deal until we find something or we find what you're promising is there.
Yeah. I got to ask somebody from Reddit that's an Indiana attorney if he's making a deal for the CSAM case, if his attorney can be present and work with that. Because in New York, that would apply. I just don't. I would say it would. I just don't know for a fact because I have nothing to do with Indiana. Because it states in here that both sides are in agreement, and I believe his attorney's name is right there.
Andrew Achi. That's the guy that's been representing him since the beginning, right? That's not a new guy.
Yeah, that's the same public defender.
So that'll squash all of those rumors. No new attorney. It's the same guy, Andrew Achi.
And the Unsolved, I don't know if you read all the comments that was going back and forth. I'm not saying 100% that this was a training exercise. There are things that are odd. And yes, you would have an all-terrain vehicle there in case one of the officers has a heart attack and starts drowning. You got to get him out of there. So you would have an all-terrain vehicle. You can't bring one of those pickup trucks down. It could have a problem.
Me personally, I think that Kagan wants to make a deal, but until they have what they're looking for, nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? His testimony. Yeah. I mean, do you think his testimony alone would be enough without finding a weapon? Him just saying, "Well, I know who did it."
Hypothetically, say it's his dad, and he was there, yeah, that's enough. I mean, you're rolling on your dad. I mean, it doesn't get any more close for comfort than that, you know.
So maybe they're just looking for the cherry on top. They don't
I mean,
need it. But
without the murder weapon, would it be like, defense could play games of it was him and he's just rolling on his father. His father was, it could turn into a court nightmare, but it would be enough for arrests. Absolutely.
Another question I wanted to ask you: do you think it's possible that gunshots were fired and people just didn't hear it?
It could be possible. From Ron, listen, let's think of it this way. A lot of people there, yes, they hear gunshots, but they don't. I mean, you're talking about people hunt all year round there for deer. Not that it's hunting season, but people need meat in their freezers. I own a property upstate, and they're shooting guns all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something. You don't. There's no fear with it. You know what's going on. Somebody's tagging a deer. That's just the way it is. Even though it's not hunting season, they need meat for their freezer. They're going to take the shot.
But a deer rifle sounds a lot different than a pistol.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A deer rifle echoes.
It'll ring. Yeah, it'll ring out. It'll ring out for miles.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you hunted opening day when you hear that first rifle on the mountain. You get a little adrenaline.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. A handgun does not sound like a rifle, especially where the echo alone would just keep bouncing from a rifle.
Yeah, pistol sounds like
and let's remember something. I forgot to add this into the video about Ron Logan's search warrant. If you noticed how they were adamant about sticking in there how Ron Logan carried his handgun with him at all times. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? So are they leading that on that video a handgun was seen? Not that it was fired, but at least seen. Because as I said,
the family,
David,
I think the family mentions that there was some type of, if not seen, you can clearly hear, a gun being cocked or the hammer being pulled back.
I mean, the whole thing with the cock thing bothers me because, that
could be anything.
Yeah, but that's in movies. Like, when they're about to shoot, they cock. That's just in a movie, just so you get light action.
But I also know that people that, let's say, don't surround themselves with firearms often. Let's say maybe that's why he went to Country Club Road, was to get some type of firearm. Maybe he's the kind of person who isn't comfortable keeping one in the chamber. You know what I mean? I've seen people like that.
Yeah. There are people like that, but anybody that carries for self-defense, you're ready to go at all times.
Mm-hmm. Always.
You just are. You're ready to go.
What's the point otherwise?
I mean, you have, every second counts in a self-defense incident, and you're not going to want to be, racking your gun, because you don't have one in the chamber. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. But that, that could be, somebody who has children or whatnot and isn't somebody who handles guns all the time. They might do that. You just never know. Oh, so Unsolved, the one that put that video out that you did something on with the fireman walking out of the restaurant when she was being interviewed?
Yeah, what'd you think about that?
It's interesting.
I mean, do you think it's possible to just pick somebody out of random and get another match like that?
No. I mean,
I'm gonna try to do it.
You got to remember how small Delphi is. It's 3,000 people. So let's say half of them are male, and then 30% of them, 40% of them are over 20. So you're down to what? I don't know, like 700 men, 800 men, something like that. 600 men around there in a whole town. Mm-hmm. That's not a lot of people when you think about it.
No, it's
not. Pretty small town.
I just don't know. I don't know enough about Gates to really know. I know that I've tried to match a lot up over the last 3 or 4 years, and I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I could put it frame by frame, and it's just a perfect match. So strange.
It is strange. It is. But that's why I remember I've said how many times I think there's depending on roles in this crime, that there's going to be 2 to 5 people when it's finally done.
It's not impossible.
And I'm pissed that June wasn't it. Remember, it said by the end of June. Pissed about that not coming true. I really am. But I do think that things are coming together. I really feel it. I felt it at the 5-year. Carter being so giddy.
He was cocky as shit.
Oh,
I was digging it.
He was. He was a different man than the 2019 presser and the new direction. And I totally feel that the new direction was because the FBI far on Ron Logan that finally, Carroll County and ISP said, no, there's no way it's him. And they finally said, that we got to take this investigation back. That's my opinion. That's how I would feel when you read that search warrant. It's like, what the fuck was happening? But really though, it's just every piece of it was so to the end.
It made him look guilty
you
too.
don't need that much to get it signed. That's the whole thing. You didn't need every single thing that was in there. His busted alibi. That's enough. The pings where they were the pings. I don't know if you read it line by line, but I did it on Red Talk. The one part says that his phone shows him at his home on his property, and the same.
It's like no shit.
No, but then in the same sentence, it shows him within the Monon High Bridge. How is that even possible? How could he be vacations in the same sentence? But that's how big a bubble could be. That's just how big.
Well, anybody that uses a lot of tracking, like especially with phones and family, if you ever pull it up,
even today, sometimes.
So like I look up my phone and sometimes it shows me like I'm on the other street or I'm at my neighbor's house,
or it shows you within your spot you are, but the bubble around it is large. That it could be roaming, that far out, and that could be, that could be 7-8 blocks away. It's weird.
Are you keeping track of these comments here? I'm trying to.
I keep scrolling back when I'm not talking.
Let's see here. Sleuth, we're glad you're addicted to your YouTube channel. Yeah, I am just Pam. CD knows what I'm talking about. He's catching the bug.
Yeah, well, I was so busy with coaching through into early July was killing me. I was just running around like a ping pong with both my kids with baseball and softball. It was just out of control. Plus, I had soccer. It's like I just felt like I was coach. I just couldn't get to anything else. They need to find physical evidence. Yeah, I think they have physical evidence. They're just I think they don't have. I think they don't have the solid DNA. I think they just don't have DNA.
Tamara's subscribing to the same.
The unsolved. The affidavit does say they were murdered with a bladed weapon. It wasn't gunshots. Bladed weapon.
Yeah.
I think the way they worded it with Ron, talking about Ron and carrying a firearm, so that he would carry his firearm every day, and they also mentioned the fanny pack, a nice fanny pack. It said, like a high quality fanny pack.
Which is dumb because we haven't even confirmed that is a fanny pack,
I know, but they were leaning heavy on that it was Ron. But just that piece tells me that, does the 43 seconds maybe show what looks like a handgun? It's possible.
I think so. I think they may even try to hide it in the video they released.
I know you said that. You did say that. That could be. Because remember, in the beginning when they first released it, they said this is a witness that we need to talk to. They weren't saying he was a suspect in the beginning, so it could be possible that they manipulated his right hand.
Try to trick him.
Big Fish said that. Dang, that's a noise fanny pack. That's funny.
Hey, what's up, Fig?
Yeah.
Why are you deleting his comments, bro? That's messed up.
Fig hasn't commented in a while. I haven't seen Fig in a while. We got to get together. We got to do a 3-headed monster again.
I've been trying to entice him.
Well, I know he's been busy with work too. I know he's been busy. He told me.
Oh, he's been so busy. It sounds like he's been busy in the right kind of way.
That's a good thing.
Can't wait to be that kind of busy.
Yeah, it's always good. Always good.
Good to see you, Fig. You gonna come join us?
What did Roland say that's slander? What happened?
Let's see. Oh, he's on the whole family stuff again.
DF and go. One pistol round sounds like anything else. He only shot one round. Why would he shoot just one round? We know the girls were murdered with a bladed weapon, which I've said for heavily bladed weapon because that just makes sense here.
That's like shooting a flare.
Machete.
It's like,
yeah,
here I am. I'm over here. I'm committing a crime.
I don't understand that one shot was fired.
Yeah, it does make sense. I can see a pistol being used to kind of control him and create fear, and then maybe when the fight started, he's like, damn it, now I got to holster this gun because I can't fire it. It's going to be too loud. Now I got to go to the bladed weapon. Secondary. That's the reason why I think military or somebody who has that type of training, going to a secondary weapon like that kind of does take training.
It does. It does. Because when you're training in the academy and you're going from your handgun and you're holstering and going to your baton, you've got to see what happens inside that gym, man. They go flying.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're trying to get control of your baton. Listen, I've seen guys or girls. You're at the NYPD range, dude. I'm talking about there's 180 of you lined up, and you've seen people unholster and the gun. They throw the gun. It's horrifying. You know, it really is. You know, you're talking about people that never have held a gun before, and you're going to the range the first time. It gets a little hinky.
Oh yeah.
I know people hung up on the shack like they were not murdered in the barn. Ron Logan's affidavit tells what happened. Yes, the bodies were staged. I feel they were moved 2 to 3 feet to complete the staging. The blood where the girls were found was excessive.
Yep, and most likely present on the perpetrator, according to that.
Yep.
But there was a lot of bullshit in that. But those are the details that we need to focus on. The other stuff like the pinging and the location,
Unsolved,
the science.
it's all good. It's all good, Unsolved. Unsolved, and sorry for being grumpy before. No, we're all good. It's all good.
What happened?
No, because me and him were going back and forth before.
About
the ATV being by the table with the search or training. I just don't. Listen. I would say the search instantly if there were people watching that property, watching that water all night long. And I'm not saying that anybody could just go there and find what they threw and say, oh, it's right here. But you would know the genuine area. And if it was something heavy, it's going to sink. You throw a machete, a hatchet into that water. It's
6 years
sink
ago.
Yeah, it's going to sink and work its way in between a rock and lodge itself there.
Yeah, they're going to find it. I think that even whoever threw it in there, let's say this is the reason they don't have anybody out there, right? It's because they know that over 6 years it's moved, and it's going to take professionals to find whatever it was that they think is in there. They're not worried about anybody finding it.
It's filthy, so it's gonna have everything growing on it. It's gonna be pretty disgusting.
I mean, imagine catching somebody looking in that water, and it's like somebody that's associated with Keegan Kline. I mean,
really though. I mean, from Tony's foot, it's not like he's going in there walking around on rocks with one leg.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, I saw Tony Kline in the water last night. I mean, come on, I mean, really.
On an inner tube.
Yeah, on an inner tube.
And a metal detector.
Oh boy. I used one on the beach with my son. Let me tell you something. That damn thing gives off so many false things. It's ridiculous. He wanted to find treasure. We found nothing.
I think you got to set them.
And I bought a pretty good one. It's not like I bought it.
Well, Derek,
it's like $200.
Derek was telling me you gotta know how to set them.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing. You really do.
But I don't know shit about it.
We found out. He just wanted. He thought we were gonna find like pirate booty. It didn't happen. We tried though. It was fun. It's all about
Fig
making
says,
numbers.
yes. Hi. He says, I got crap for the audio because it has music in the background, as if I put the music in the video. Fig, next time you post that, can you please take that background music out? We'd appreciate it. How do you expect us to freaking hear the guy when you put the music in there? What were you thinking?
I miss Fig's humor, though. What's he up to? Why isn't he jumping on right now for 10 minutes? Come say hi,
I don't know.
Fig. Come say hi. We haven't seen you.
I sent him the link. He doesn't have an excuse right now.
If he's got the link, he should be here. He should be here. Bonnie, a clear flat-bottom boat really wouldn't help. That water is disgusting. You can't see anything. Hey, Trav's here. What's up, buddy?
It's pretty shallow, too.
It is. Fig, click that link. It's the flyer fin. We're waiting. Click that link. It's nice. It opens up beautifully. I don't know if you hear the noise going on in the background. My dog is losing her mind.
No,
I don't know what
can't
she
hear it at
smells
all.
outside. She's going, what are you doing? You're attacking the blanket?
Deb Porter says, I think BG guys sounds like a lisp. I think that kind of stuff's important. I wish there was a way for
But it's so hard. It's so hard because you have distance between them. You have wind. You have the trees blowing. There's so much noise in the background.
The person changing the way they sound. Maybe they're out of breath. Like there's so many variables. It's ridiculous.
It's so hard to be accurate with only 4 words.
I should have slowed the chat down a little more.
Yeah, where you are, there's a lot in front of it. Where you are, you're pretty far back. You're maybe 10 minutes back, I think.
Here, let me zoom all the way down.
This chat has been exploding tonight.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, where you at, Fig?
He's saying hi to everybody. Why isn't he coming on? Fig, click that link. If you have internet, you're here. We're waiting. Oh, he said give me 5 minutes. He did say give me 5 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's read his comments for now.
Yeah, let's just
in my opinion, the shack reference was because they were trying to relate to the killer based on what they found at the crime scene. Simple as that. Religious, non-secular. We believe you have 1 ounce of conscience left.
You know, going back to the religious stuff and stuff, remember the Eric Williams guy?
Mm-hmm.
That's not related. He's not related.
Yep.
And all his comments about the bones and all that stuff that he said.
Victims and something along those lines as well.
No, that was the guy that was with him that almost slipped and said victims, wasn't it? Wasn't it the chubby guy? No, it was him. You're right. It was him. But somebody had a text exchange with him. And he said how weird, like near the crime scene was all those bones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So did they make a cross out of bones? That could be possible. You know, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, early on I thought maybe panic, feeling regret, covered the body, and then maybe tried to give him some kind of dignity. So you know.
Yeah.
But that was just an early theory.
Yeah, I think that this staging was to totally, you know, possibly go into a religious element where they wouldn't be looked at. You know, that could be why. It was just to throw off law enforcement.
Fig is right, and that's what I was going to say earlier. They need like a gun or something that has a serial number, and then it's tied to the killer. You know what I mean?
Listen, you're 5.5 years later. You need this tied in a bow to go to trial, because to get a jury and have a trial where you want as strong as you can chance of getting the conviction and not going there with a half. You don't want to go half cocked. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, we can wait another year if we need to.
Listen, at this point, you want it to be, you want it to be ready to go. It's Michelle. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why that's self-defense.
Yeah, not everybody's okay with getting punched in the face,
That's true.
It could kill you.
A lot of people have never been punched in the face,
Some people get punched in the face and they die. It's weird.
It does happen. Not from just the punch alone, falling down, hitting their head,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got, then you're charged with manslaughter, from just a stupid fight that turns into a disaster.
And I grew up rough and rugged. Like, it would be nothing for somebody just to walk up and punch me if I deserved it,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there were different times. It's not like that now, People don't, you be at the park and you just fight with people. It's not that it's just the way it was in the 90s,
All right, who's punching who in the face?
Looky who we got here.
Fig
Look who crawled out of
house.
Nothing. What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up, Fig? How are you?
Doing well. Staying out of trouble. The best I can.
All we can do.
Kind of staying out of trouble.
Who were you let off your short leash or what? What's going on?
I'm hiding somewhere, so no one knows where I am.
Should we whisper?
No, it'll be good.
Right.
I'm too loud. Yeah, I can't hide. I'm too loud. But yeah, it's cool to talk to you and see you guys again and see everyone in chat.
Yeah, it's good
you
seeing
sound
you.
great.
Good that you popped on.
What's your opinions on all this stuff, man? I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
So, what else is going on? No, I'm just kidding.
Because I know you verified some of this information. I know it. I already know that.
So the thing that's not very, I think it's best if we wait for law enforcement to give a statement of why they're out there, because a lot of the sources are from, like if you watch the news clip, they're sourcing Murder Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a source. So what if Murder Sheet is not correct? But let's say I'm pretty confident in who they're talking to and what's going on. But I would say we should wait for an official statement to get too excited about anything.
Well, that's what I was trying to say before my little guy came running out here like a lunatic. That the Marathon gas station incident, I was told privately that they believe it's true, but that the FBI took the hard drive to try and recover what was written over. Not that they took the hard drive and like created a disaster of their own.
Right, because
it was already written over. Yeah, that was already written over, and they tried to just recover it. So,
right.
I mean,
that makes more sense.
Pieces, it does make more sense. I mean.
Yeah, because usually, like every 72 hours or something, they use the same tape, so it just
it just depends on your. Yeah, it depends on how big the hard drive is.
Yeah,
and how many camera feeds are on it.
Right.
That would be right. Say 7 days, 6 days. It just depends on how big your hard drive is.
Yeah, it seems weird to ask for a hard drive anyway. You think you would ask for like a CD or a disc?
Well, if you're trying to recover
flash drive.
If you're trying to recover what was written over, you would need the hard drive.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's what I was told this week, and that does make sense. So the person's like, listen, you can't believe everything you hear because this is what I know. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
I get it. That does make more sense than the FBI took it and just, bumbled it and deleted it while they were attempting to record it.
So I'll say I'm really cautiously optimistic. I mean, so There's other murders in Indiana. There's other murders around, like maybe it's a different case, maybe, right? What are the odds? It does seem like, yeah, this is the timing. It'd be a huge coincidence that all this stuff is going on at the exact same time.
And why did have that body too, right? There was a body that was found in the Wabash.
Well, let me ask you guys this real quick. You have the Marathon gas station. You have Keegan apparently being taken into ISP custody and is maybe even becoming a confidential informant. Do you guys see that? Am I seeing that or no?
Yeah, it could be very possible. It could be very possible.
So why is this all happening right now and they're doing a 2-week search about a mile away from Tony Klein's house? I mean, this has got to be something, right? I'm not going crazy.
I don't think it's a logical leap to think otherwise. I think it makes sense, but is it confirmed? So say
I hear you.
Yeah, 60% sure that it is.
But you're okay. So you're leaning. Okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
I'm leaning.
What I will add to it is that, like, people say, "Oh, how often does this happen?" It happens very often. Like, I can't be exact with what I'm going to say because we had a case where it was a huge drug case, and these were some bad people that were involved. And the guy that was in the county jail wanted to talk, but he was scared to talk at the county jail. So we got his attorney to agree with the DA, and we took him and housed him in our precinct. He stayed there for, I want to say, 4 months. And that's not a place you stay, like a jail, but they agreed to it. He got a television. He was fed, his 3 meals a day. And I'll tell you what he did for me, because we treated him good, and he gave us some amazing stuff. I had a pretty big arrest in, and the next morning he was asking for me after the guys got sent to county jail, and he's like, he said, I got to tell you something. He goes, when they were here last night, one of the guys said that when one of the detectives had him sitting on the side on like a curb, he dug into the dirt and hid. I'm talking like had to be 100 decks of heroin. I didn't believe him. He was telling the truth. We went there, video cameraed the whole thing, went exactly where the guy was sitting, dug into the dirt, and there was 100 decks of heroin there. So it's like, these guys, if they trust you, they're willing to work for you, man.
Fig, real quick, I wanted to ask you about friend 1. You heard about that situation also coinciding, right?
Yeah, that's another weird timing thing where, is he saying something and then that put pressure? Like, so say Kagan is talking. So what is prompting this? Because
it seems like friend 1, right? Think about it. He had a pregnant fiance. He's facing, I think 5 to 10, like mandatory, and now he's out with the ankle bracelet exactly the same day on the 19th that these documents that I had up on the screen were filed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe he felt like he was cornered and he was arrested, and he wanted to get out and said, "Hey." I'm surprised if that is true. He didn't do it sooner after, if he got a hold of the transcript where he's getting thrown under the bus the whole time. I'm surprised he didn't say something right away.
He didn't need to. It's almost like he had it in his back pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he wanted to keep his leverage. So there's a lot of coincidences, if you believe in those that are going on. So maybe it forced Kagan to show his hand.
And with the marathon stuff, maybe that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he had nothing to do with it, but he's like, I don't know. Kagan mentioned the marathon gas station, or mentioned throwing a weapon over a bridge or something,
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines.
Sleuth, go to DFN Goat's comments that are deleted, and read the second one back.
Where am I looking? Who am I looking for?
DFN Goat. It's the second deleted comment back, and read that.
I don't see it.
It says there were Should I just read it? It's interesting.
Yeah, if you got it.
I
If you
think
got it.
D might have tagged them. It says there were masks,
Oh.
dolls, stuffed animals. They're there.
Okay. There were masks, dolls, stuffed animals, and Abby Williams was made to look like she was. See, I've heard that before. I almost wonder, in all of your history in law enforcement, CD, have you ever heard of putting out false information to mislead the public purposefully?
Not on a murder case. No.
Okay. It's better to put out the real information, the correct factual information quickly,
what you
right?
can and what you want people to know, you would put out facts. Yeah.
Okay.
Behind closed doors, interrogating somebody, different story. But
what if you knew who it was but couldn't prove it?
Yeah.
Well,
Did you
if
know?
you knew who it was and you couldn't prove it, you would not want to be lying to them, interrogating them, because then they're gonna be like, you have nothing. You're not going to give them everything, but you're going to make them know it's them. You know what I mean? Because if you're coming in and you're telling them something that is not true and they're the killer, you just look like law enforcement has nothing. You want them to know you just can't get there yet. It's interesting that they said that, because I mean, there's been so many different things said, over the years of what could have been there.
Man, I can't keep up with this chat. I can't turn off stoner mode when you guys are typing so fast.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. There's 218 people and it's an active chat.
There's a good question, and let me ask this one to Fig. Is it possibly an exercise, in your opinion?
Not in my opinion. But I'm waiting for law enforcement's official word, so I'm not. If they said it's some new crazy training that they're doing for 2 weeks, well, then okay.
Michelle says that she's CSI. Michelle, if you're CSI, how long was your training? It wasn't 2 days. I mean, motorcycle school is 2 weeks. It's motorcycle school. It's either you can do it or you can't. I mean, there's things you learn at it, but it's 2 weeks. So you're saying 2 days. I mean, it just doesn't. Accident investigation is 2 weeks. HIDTA training, 2 weeks.
Okay, next question for you guys. What could they possibly be looking for? Let me ask this one to Fig.
No,
first.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Yeah, what could it be? It couldn't be a flash drive, right? It couldn't be maybe a phone. Why would
card. Could be
why would you throw that out? It's got to be a weapon. What else do you throw out of a moving vehicle into the water?
I say, if it's to do with the CSAM case, it's some kind of storage device.
I don't think they would bother. Why would ISP be involved?
Because ISP is the one that arrested him for the CSAM.
No, I think Carroll County did, or Miami County.
Yeah, Miami County and ISP. Trooper Vito. But now he's detective.
No, I don't. I think they just interviewed him in regards to Delphi. I don't think they arrested him.
I believe they did, but I think we could look at the arrest affidavit is from Vito, isn't it? Pull it up. Do you have the affidavit you can pull up? His arrest affidavit is the arresting officer.
I'm just super curious. Why would they need to go into ISP custody when he's in Miami County already?
Because ISP, the reason he get charged for 3 years, in my opinion, is you had all his devices are analyzed by ISP, right? You had Robert Ives retire at that time. You had a new DA coming in. They never forwarded all of his stuff to Miami County. You know what I mean? And just remember that state police is the one that's investigating this broad CSAM case that just keeps going.
CD, in your opinion, if they make an arrest, say they arrest Kagan for the Delphi murders, what agency would go do the arrest?
Carroll County.
Okay.
Carroll County's the lead investigators. It was on their property.
They'd let them hook them up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you remember every time that they mention to Carter, you're the lead investigator, he corrects them and said it's Carroll County and the task force. And he goes into names, Vito. He names a few of his guys too, but it is Carroll County's case.
So since it'll be the state prosecuting Kagan, is that why the state is involved in negotiations? That's why he's going into ISP custody, because that's the state. But it's not like a detective could make a deal. They probably had someone with the legal experience as well.
It could be strategic too, though, because if paperwork said Carroll County and not ISP, the bells would be going off that it's definitely Delphi.
Yeah, and let's remember that Kagan is a liar. Could he be trolling? I mean, this guy's a catfishing person. Could he be like, oh, yeah, but I don't know why he would do that, but
what's the benefit of it?
Because let's say he would get out of his cell. He might even ask for a nice pair of clothes, maybe a nice meal.
I mean, that could be possible. People do it. The benefit isn't there.
Yeah, it's out there. The knife, it's out there somewhere. Just keep looking.
Just keep looking.
So I'll say what I've heard. Yep, the weapon is one that they're looking for, and then also something else. Two things, at least two things.
Dirty.
And it is something. It could be like a phone, a camera, something that would implicate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because that comes back to Ron's the whole photography thing and the storage devices.
Yeah, and if maybe it was a burner phone, maybe it was the flash drive, but it's some other device which I think would get ruined by water. I'll say that. But I don't know. In water, I don't know what these technical magicians could do, and if they could restore something. I have no idea what they could do with whatever they found. But they're looking for it. Does that mean it's out there? Does that mean that someone's telling the truth, that Kagan's telling the truth that these things are out there? No, but I know they're looking for two items.
Well, they could definitely compare whatever they have on the autopsy and compare it to the weapon that Kagan, said, hey, I think the killer threw it right here. And if it matches with the autopsy report, boom, they got a match. They can use that in court, Serrated edge, maybe some type of serrated edge, or specific indentation on the metallic edged weapon. Boom, if they can find a perfect match with that, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's what they're going to need to find. If it's not just like any random bladed object in there, it's got to has to match, right? What they saw in the autopsy. Like you said, if it's serrated, then you would see that on the bodies.
Yeah, especially for the jury. When the jury's sitting there and they're like, okay, yeah, you got, obviously I've heard of this case, you're railroading this guy, but when you have a piece of physical evidence and they zoom up in it on a microscopic level and they say, you see this here, how this matches perfectly with this, and then these three other wounds here, like it's obvious that this is the weapon. It's just not possible that any other weapon can be this consistent. The jury would go, that's all they need. They're like, okay, that's the weapon. Yeah, and Keegan Kline also pointed it out and told us where we could find it.
Yeah, that's the important thing. That he told them exactly where it was, and they went there and they found that exact weapon that matches what happened to the girls. I'm reading the chats.
The arrest affidavit for Keegan was Trooper Vito, the arresting officer. He was the one that wrote it all
I believe so.
Yeah.
And people say, well, why didn't they go search behind the home? Well, if you think about it, maybe they were like, well, you can't just throw it behind your own house. Just take it over there to the bridge and chuck it off over the bridge. It could be anybody in Peru at that point. So they thought they were being smart because they thought they were unidentified. But once you're identified, it looks everything starts to fall into place, it seems.
Yeah, still idiots. 43 miles away. Like, where are you going to? So then they live 43 miles away. So 41 miles, you're going to get that much closer to where you live to throw away your weapon?
Well, think about it. Well, put yourself in that.
I still feel it's in Vegas.
Well, put yourself in that situation. I don't think they really planned it until they got to Country Club Road. Why else would they go to Marathon gas station? And then now that you it went horribly wrong and you committed a murder, it's going to take you almost those 45 minutes for you to just calm down from that adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking, what the hell have I done? What do I need to do? How do I start covering this shit up?
Yep. And then that's why they probably went and visited their friend in Vegas to get more intel on how long does DNA last.
And Keegan said, I'm fucked. I shouldn't have came back, or I should have
I had my
left.
bag. I remember I had my bag packed.
Yeah, I had my bag packed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe Daddy was worried. Maybe Keegan and his friends went and did this. He came over to Daddy and said, hey, we did something horrible. And he's like, well, I got a friend. Let's go visit my friend. He'll tell us what to do. And plus, or maybe by the direction of his friend said, hey, look, come to Vegas. You'll be close to Mexico. If you need to cross the border, you can. And then also we'll be able to hang tight and I can give you some advice. They saw things mull over. I think, what was it? The 22nd is when the audio came out, or no, it was the 16th. The audio came out and then the sketch came out and they were like, man, that doesn't look anything like us. So the officer was probably like, yeah, I think you guys are okay. I think you guys are in the clear for now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
that's about people might not understand that Tony worked with this guy for years. The guy retired from Miami County and did another career with the plant, and he was the manager there. So he was with Tony every day. He was his manager. So they had a relationship. It wasn't just like, oh, this is my friend who's a retired cop.
And so did his cousin, Country Club Road cousin, worked there too with them.
Yep.
Yeah, they all worked together. So that's could have been some plotting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 8 a.m. Log in and out. Anthony shots. 10 o'clock. The girls wake up, communicate their intentions to go to the bridge. Right at 10 a.m. is when they concocted their plan to head to Delphi. Took 45 minutes. They got there about 11:30. Anywhere between 11 and 11:30. Realized school's not there. It's a snow day. Then they get the text, hey, it's a snow day. We're going out to High Bridge. Boom. They head directly over to the CPS building and head to the Freedom Bridge where they stop.
I remember the fight in the house where there was some kind of conflict with signing out of the device, signing in. I feel that they were fighting for control of the conversation.
Or whoever was going to commit the murder was like, hey, go ahead and log into this phone so I have access and I can kind of watch them. I can stalk them, or I can see what they're doing. But I'm going to take this phone, but I need you to log into it so that I can see what they're doing.
Could be, because they could have they couldn't have not known that when you signed in on a second device, the other one would knock off. So you couldn't be on at the same time.
Yeah, and they could be talking like, well, how do we do this without being tracked? Well, here, just take this phone. I don't need this phone. This is not my real phone. Just take this. I'll go ahead and log on this phone to the Wi-Fi over here. Or he was just there while two other people were committing the murder. It kind of seems that way.
CT's question?
Yeah. Well, I'll finish this thought and then I saw that. It's not the fact that he was just like his phone was there. It's the fact what his phone was doing while he was at Country Club Road.
What he typically does. It was kind of like Keegan Kline fashion, right?
And he has the MO. He searches for certain types of porn, and they're aware, so they saw that habit. I mean, this guy's not smart enough to use the VPN, so he didn't have all this figured out. But yeah, it's not the fact that his phone pinged there or connected that Wi-Fi. It's what it was doing while it was there. So it has his signature, his MO on the type of things he does while he's on his phone, and they're able to realize that. I think that Kagan is confident and cocky right now, and I think he's possibly been cleared of things, so he's able to say whatever he wants, almost with immunity. Not saying that's the deal that went down, but it seems like he's pretty confident. And in the transcripts, and CD, I'll get your thoughts on this. The part where it's like, I'm telling you, 100. The investigator, I think it was Vito, saying, "I'm telling you, 100% a fact. We know you didn't do this." And then Kagan's kind of like talking, like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "No, listen, like 100%. We know." He reiterated like 3 times. He made sure Kagan did that. I know.
Keegan knew he wasn't the killer, and they didn't feel he was. Yeah.
Yeah, did you get that same feeling, or was
Yeah,
it?
no, he expressed it over and over again that he wasn't the killer.
No, they could be lying. Do you think he was lying in that part, or do you think he was being genuine there, since the language he used was absolute fact and believe me?
I personally don't believe that Keegan was the killer either. I've been saying the violence comes elsewhere. I feel it was his father. That doesn't mean he wasn't there, but I still feel strongly that it was his dad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you want to know what also bothers me about it is when you heard the other girl that when Keegan met her at the park, our friend, Keegan was visually upset, but he didn't threaten her until afterwards in messages about slicing her throat.
Yeah, and Anthony Schatz threatened her.
Yeah,
not
that's what I'm
not
saying.
Kagan. Yeah.
So, not Keegan. Yeah.
So,
but what I'm saying is that
you're right.
Why didn't he say that in person? It happened afterwards because was his dad there? Was his father lurking in the park also? It's possible.
What about the driver passenger situation? Maybe he was just the passenger.
You're talking about that's the 10-year-old that he stalked with the passenger in his car. No, I'm talking about Anthony Schatz met a female at a park, brought a friend. The girl brought a friend, and Keegan was there. He was physically upset about it. But
who's that?
the threat
Kayla?
didn't come till afterwards. Who?
What was her name? Kayla?
I think, yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Something with a K.
Murder Sheets put that up.
Murder Sheets, yeah.
Yeah, it's called like Kayla's story, that episode.
And I believe the story because she was just so descriptive, and it wasn't like story time. She sounded very credible.
Well, and it sounds very similar as well.
It does. It's
well. We got to think what motivated whoever did this. We don't know if it was Tony Klein. It could be one of Keegan's friends.
Let's also think about it this way, right? Keegan was the one that made contact with her. Was the one on the bridge, but not the one who killed. That's possible. It is possible. Or it could be a third person. Possible.
I think something happened, and the plan was hatched at Country Club Road in between 8 and 10 a.m. In my opinion.
Well, I think at 10 or 10:30, they were still in the house. That was when the Snapchat sign happened. So within the hour after that, yeah.
Oh, I actually have that
12,
clip.
They were at Country Club, or by 12, they were there.
You guys want to watch that short clip, that Kayla's story from Murder Sheet? I think it's like a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of put everything into context for everybody that's watching. We just kind of blab on. Nobody has a clue on what we're talking about.
Olivia, I'll answer you because I know you asked like 3 different times. I do not believe the murder happened under the bridge. I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that you're seeing people basically doing it underneath the bridge. No. I don't believe
All right,
that.
so this is titled, I think, Kayla's story, right? From the Murder Sheet. This is about a minute.
He said, well, I'm at Foster Park, me and my girlfriend. So I went to Foster Park because he said he lived in Galveston, Indiana. And like he went to different states. So he said he was in Kokomo for a little bit. I had my friend go with me actually. And he was pissed off. I have not met him face to face. And he sent me a really, really, really shitty message and said, I should cut your throat for this and watch you bleed out, blah, blah. Why would you bring someone with you? And snapped on me.
Damn. I don't know if that's the same motivation, though. For some reason, I see whoever did this is pissed off. Maybe something that happened the night before. Like, hey, we know who you are. I'm going to tell on you. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, I'm going to find you tomorrow, and I'm going to literally, like, it just seems like it was on a mission, Like, hey, get me to where these girls are. And it appears that they may have suspected that they were at school that day, Why the hell would you go to that Marathon gas station? That's the closest gas station to the school, you know? So I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's what, 3.2 miles away from the bridge, right?
Yeah, and if you were going to the bridge, there's another gas, like you would get off right there. There's another spot that you would get off the freeway. Then you would gas up and then you would go to the back to where you were. But it was almost like they were confused at first. And they had time.
Well, maybe could it be that they just like Marathon because there's a Marathon right by their house in Peru too.
There's 3.
In Peru?
Yeah, there's 3 in Peru by their house. So they're surrounded by 3 Marathon gas stations.
Wow. That's interesting.
So why not stop there? Why stop there? It's the closest gas station to the school. It's the only thing I can think of. Unless whoever committed the murder, and it goes back to Fig, your escape route. So instead of your escape route, you know how right at the end, when they get to the freeway, you have them kind of cross the creek and then head towards the CPS building? What if they never cross the creek? What if they just go underneath the freeway and head towards the Marathon gas station? And that's where they reach out to Kagan and say, hey, look, man, I'm over here. I'm stranded. I fucked up. I need somebody to come get me and take me to my vehicle. Meet me at the Marathon gas station. And Keegan's like, oh, shit. You know, and he looks it up. And he's like, what the fuck is the Marathon gas station? And then he gives that to the person. And then somebody goes and picks him up, takes him to his vehicle. And they get there around 5.
Could also relay. Could use two vehicles to relay so that you're not hit on multiple cameras either.
So I'm gonna to that point, CD. There's something. One rumor it's that young guy sketch was seen on the back of a motorcycle. He hopped on.
My question. This is where I was going with that. Remember, you saw that little short I put up about Brad Heath.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he gave Ellie stuff, and then that Friday, the 17th, you had Ellie, bursting into the cemetery to go look for stuff.
Well, he said, I saw something and I felt I needed to say something.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. He was right near there. Did he see down into the cemetery? And that's why after he gave that info, they went rushing in there to see if they could find any evidence.
You're talking about something that was in town, I think, right? That rumor?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He was seen, I don't know. Now I'm going to have to go back and look it up. But it was like a mile down the road.
Well, Carter says Holman says the witness was in or around the trails. So he never said specifically that they saw the killer like on the trails. It could have been in town.
And in rural Indiana, a motorcycle could also be like an off-road dirt bike. It doesn't have to be like a Harley or whatnot. I mean, could it be a Harley? Daddy has a Harley, but it also could be like an off-road dirt bike.
Why this person reported it? Because it stood out because it was February. It was cold out, and there's not a lot, like no one's riding motorcycles that time of the year. So they're kind of like, what the hell? Why is someone on a motorcycle in February? And why is someone on the... So that's why it stood out to this person, and they did report it. I'm not sure that's where young guy sketch came from, but I know the report was that it was a younger looking guy who they saw on the back.
You guys ever see the...
real quick, CD, Murder Sheet also made a strange Facebook post. It says, I now feel comfortable that I can say that the bridge guy and his little friend are going down soon.
That's interesting.
Little
Did
friend.
You see, who's little? Little friend.
Is that the young guy? Is the killer? Is the young? What does that mean? Like, I'm so confused, man.
That's weird. That's a weird statement.
But all we know is they're looking for something in the Wabash River. It's most likely a weapon, a phone, a gun, or all of the above. And when they find it, that might wrap it up.
Did you see Sergeant Riley when he gave he usually was great when he gave his press conferences, but he said 4 times in this one press conference when he's talking about the witness that saw with the sketch, the young bridge guy sketch, and he says she 4 times and he corrects himself every time. He's trying not to say she. And
well, that's in regard. That's in regards to the older sketch.
Yeah,
it could be. It could be, but I thought it was pretty close to after the murders. I mean, wasn't the young one drawn first, but just not released first?
Yes, but when he made that comment, it was in regards to the older looking sketch.
It could be.
Yeah,
It was just right when they were trying so hard not to say she, and he just kept saying it. And like he's like, well, the person, the person.
Holman did the same thing at CrimeCon in 2018. He said she again.
Well, because when you're remembering a detail of a report, it's so hard to not say he or she. It's just you're trying to read verbatim from what you saw, that you took in the report, and it's just hard not to say.
So when did Murder Sheet put that? I'll ask them what they meant by that. When did they post it? Today?
Which part?
About the little friend?
Oh no, that was about I think it was the 19th when all this was happening.
Okay.
The 18th or the 19th. Yeah, somebody sent me a screenshot and they're like, what does Murder Sheet mean by this? And why are they talking like this? They never talk like this. But they haven't accepted my request to join their group yet, so I can't see all these posts that they're making.
That's strange. Yeah, lots of interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's just even when you go back and just listen to stuff, it's like you pick up on so much. There's so much said but not said,
Well, before we close out, because we are pretty much out of time, I want to get your opinion real quick, Fig, on this and get your final word. What are you of the opinion that you're just going to kind of be patient and kind of let this all unfold? What is your approach on this right now?
Yeah, because the more I learn about things, the more questions I have. So there's things that I'm like, well, so nothing really definitive. So I'm waiting for patience and waiting for some official words. There's stuff like, I would bet certain ways on things, but I'm more of I need it to be fact before I get overexcited about anything. But I would say my general feeling is positive. Cautiously optimistic. I hope they find a weapon. I hope they find the killer. I hope this thing gets solved and over with.
What do you say to the rumor that they're looking for a bladed weapon and a cell phone?
Say, not all rumors are just rumors, so that's probably a pretty good guess.
Good answer. I like that. Yeah. That was a good answer. Very sneaky. You're a sneaky guy.
Yeah, sneaky. He talks in riddles,
I love it. All right, CD, your overall perspective, your knowledge, your expertise. Let's hear it.
I do think we're getting close, and I know people haven't taken it that way, but I do hope it is a legitimate search in the river. I hope it is, and I hope we get this done. I hope the cuffs get clanked on.
Because you've been part of searches. You've been part of searches before, and you've seen. Okay, I think it's the accumulation of things. Okay, we got the rumors of the Marathon gas station. We have the documentation of the sealing and the unsealing of the documents. See, all this, when things accumulate and pile on, I kind of become a sucker for it. So that's why I reach out to people like you.
Again, It's like
so
December
what do you
all
see?
over again.
What is it? Is it normal? Could it mean like?
Well, somebody who's in jail that's on charges does talk often. I mean, it's just that it's this case, and that's why it's so publicized. It's something that happens every day all over this country. But being that it's Keegan, it's huge news. Because remember, in his interrogation, he feels he's running the whole show. He really did.
He was.
He was. A lot of it he was.
He said, the reason I admitted to creating the Anthony Shots account is because at that point you guys had laid everything out in front of me. You showed me all the proof. You proved that it was me. So only I would be an idiot not to say, yes, that was me.
And think about it. The only time he really was defensive was when they brought up the very young CSAM stuff. To me, I mean, that could be somebody else that, you know, was in. To me, I didn't feel that that was his thing, but it could be. He could just be like, you know, these guys are coming after me with the kids and blah blah blah.
Yeah, prove
But
it. You have to show him the proof. You
Yeah.
know, prove that it was
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and then I'll admit it.
But I mean, just look at him. I don't know if you saw Sonny. They had just like a clip of him saying, "Hey, somebody recorded talking to him very recently. It was in the last couple of months, and he just looks terrible. He looks worse than we saw with Barbara. You know, he just doesn't look good. He's enormous. You know, I don't know. I mean, I guess people are putting money on his books, and he's just eating himself to death.
Is that what Carter meant because of the way you've changed?
Yeah, it absolutely could be. I mean, just look at him. Wow, he's a specimen, man. He is a specimen.
Crazy. All right, Sleuth, what's your final thoughts? Your final takeaway?
Well, I'm very optimistic about this case. I feel like ISP and these guys wouldn't be doing all of this hard work, and Keegan wouldn't be trying to reach out, it seems. There's movement. There's a lot of movement. It seems like it's piling up. And after speaking with you guys, it seems like it's going to be something that could be detrimental to the case. And I'm kind of excited. But I'm on your team, Fig, team patient. So that's where I'm at.
Listen, at over 5.5 years, patience is all we got. That's all we got.
Yeah, for some reason I think about Anna a lot. I'm like, for some reason I want to see her, because I feel like her daughter was just kind of, and this is not like victim shaming or anything, but I feel like she kind of got caught up in the web that was kind of going on that none of the girls seen happening, but she was just there for more support, and they don't get a lot of attention. But when I see this all unraveling, I think I'm going to be most happy for her, because I think privately that's what she's thinking. She's like, man, my daughter, you know, she was just being a good friend and she got caught up in all this bullshit, you know, and for some reason I just feel really bad for her. And it's not to victim shame Libby or anything like that. I just feel like, you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. That comes out correctly.
Losing any child is horrific, but that was her only child. You know, that was her only child.
Mm-hmm.
She's the woman's
and
lost.
The grandfather.
I feel bad for Carrie, too.
he broke my heart too.
Yeah, he did.
God, I mean, your only granddaughter.
Mm-hmm. Doing those, going to the yearly horse ride.
And not that either one's better than the other.
No,
I just know that Libby was targeted. Like, this was a targeted attack, and then you just have kind of Abby, who was like, I'm just here as a support system for my friend, and look what happened. Even when it comes to like the talk of like the attack and what happened, it's just like this person knew what he was doing over here, and then it was personal with this other one. You know, it's just, this whole thing just needs to be over with. But for some reason, I just want to champion for her, you know, just a little bit more. I don't know why.
I feel the same way for Carrie. I mean, you know, I know that Libby,
Carrie too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's, you know, she's like the left out one. You know, she's totally left out of the loop.
And she's the one that she kind of entertains. She entertains the social media aspect. She entertains how powerful that aspect could be, and so that might be why.
But she also was left out of the loop from law enforcement, and you know, that's terrible. That's the biological mom. You know, there's a lot of people hurting. You know, and as I said to you before, they wake up and it's the same day until you get arrests and you move on to a different part of grieving. They're just in Halo, man. It's just.
Well, the accusations too. I mean, those are going rampant.
That doesn't help. You know, it doesn't help. It's like, go away, stop it, leave them alone. But you know, just the way it is. Dude, Fig, it was good that you came on. We got to hang with you for a bit.
Yeah, it was nice catching up with you guys for sure.
I know
what are the odds?
Fire off an email to us once in a while. Say hello.
Yeah, what are the odds that our paths crossed tonight?
I know.
What are those odds?
Well, I think it just shows we're all kind of paying attention to this, excited, hoping there's something good going to come out of this.
Some movement, you know,
some movement. Yeah.
Well, you two are definitely the guys that I lean to. I appreciate all the information. You guys are both connected to certain things in your own way. Two very intelligent people and experienced. So having you guys a part of this podcast means a lot, because I know the success that you both have had, and everybody that's watching knows too. This is epic. I hope everybody knows that.
Yeah, we enjoy coming.
It's an honor to be on with you guys. So really appreciate it.
Well, if you guys want to hang out for a minute or two, we're going to kind of just kind of wander out here and answer some chat questions, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah. I know everybody keeps asking if this is solved, if we're going to move to Evansdale. I would like to take a look at Evansdale.
I definitely will be.
I didn't like what one of the mothers said. They were both interviewed a day apart, and they're sisters. And one of the moms basically said, I hope my sister and her husband didn't have anything to do with this. It was pretty telling that that's how she feels about her sister and the husband. You know, that's something to take a look at.
To me, it's I've seen it, and I can't wait to move over to that case. But it's kind of the Derek German effect. It's easy to pick on people when they got drug problems and they're trying to stay out of the public eye. Maybe they're not working as hard, or maybe they got issues that you quite don't understand, but it doesn't make them guilty, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
But when you have two children and who were savagely murdered, and you really don't have any answers, you know, sometimes that's still part of the, what do you call the nuclear shockwave? You got the nuclear blast, but then you got to worry about the fallout, you know, the nuclear fallout. And
you got to also, like, somebody who has an addiction problem, it's going to spiral after this. You know, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. That's not showing guilt. It's just showing that, you know, they're in a hole, you know?
I know that in that case, they only shared the cause of death with one family member, and that person chose not to share it with anybody else.
Wow. How do you pick and choose what family member you tell?
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Unless they offered it and only one wanted to know, I don't know. Or unless the other ones, they are suspicious of the other ones. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a strange case.
It is.
I believe they didn't share if they were sexually assaulted or not with anybody.
They didn't share much on the whole case. There wasn't much shared.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a look at it after this one. But,
yeah, I would like to hear your take on that, honestly.
Yeah. Like these cases consume us. It was like, do I want to get consumed? If I felt I could help in any way, I would try. Who knows?
Well,
I'll learn.
You're a very resourceful person, so
yeah.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
He's good at digging. You know, he's good at digging. He digs.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to people, to law enforcement, I'll tip things in, and I try my best, but it takes a village to solve this. It takes a team, multiple teams, people passing on information that they think is suspicious, and if they're too scared to tip it in, then I would say send it to one of us, any three of us, and we will get that tip in there. So I always offer that, and I send them in. And we've heard back sometimes from the tip line. Other times we don't hear back. So,
well, Tony Leggette's already sent me about 4 different no comments.
Oh, fine.
And I'm just asking him for status updates, like, bro.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, think of it this way, right? Just not even the communities as a whole. The 3 of us, 3 people from all different parts of the country looking at this case. The amount of people that are looking into this case. That's how drawn this case brings people in from all walks of life, every kind of, career. It just, it takes a hold of you, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think the girls were in the water?
They're saying, do you think they were found in the water?
Well, that's not what he said. He said, "Do you think the girls were in the water?"
Well, tattoo, you wrote it on my video the other day.
Oh, so he's asking you.
Yeah, I think so. And I thought I answered that in the video. Libby, she was right on the other side of the creek. I mean, they most likely did cross the creek. 99.9%. I mean, it was the other 0.1, but
shoe in the mud. Shoe wasn't found on the 13th. Wasn't even found early on the 14th. Was found midday, around 12 on the 14th.
Yeah, there's a way to get to that spot without crossing the creek, but law enforcement knows. They know where the
I put that up.
Were
I put that up the other day, a little short of him talking about it.
I appreciated that. Thank you for putting that up. That made me think.
Yeah, there's these little pieces that do make you think of like, that's interesting.
I can't wait to know the details, honestly. Like, I just want to know every detail.
Yeah, when arrests finally come for this, it's gonna be an eye opener to a lot of people. Because there's people that look into it but don't understand how evil this was.
I want to know when the killer started talking to Libby and the connection between the killer and Keegan Kline, if any. Because I mean, we're kind of assuming that this is all. Is it? I mean, are we safe to assume that this is coming to a close? I mean, I guess we should start there.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, I said it in December that once this came out, and just looking at Tony's Facebook page that day, I said it to you. Remember, I said to you, you're like, it was my first call with you. I said, don't just look away from Daddy that quick. I mean, it's taken a long time though. It is, but at the same time, I do think we're almost there.
Yeah, and I like law enforcement. They look at YouTube videos and stuff, and they know. And I remember in a video I said, I don't think it's his dad because they have the height and weight requirements up there, and if he fits out of that scope, then it's not his dad. If I'm going by what law enforcement has posted up there, and then another week or two after, I was doing another video, and I went on. So I went on. I looked, and it was removed. I'm not saying they watched mine and said, "Oh,
yeah,
whatever."
I get what you're saying, because a lot of people are. Listen, when you have them at 5'8", it didn't fit, and then they removed it.
Hey, Tom N with the super chat says, "I hope they found what they were looking for in Wabash." Amen.
Yeah, we'll know soon enough if they're out there in the morning, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine them pulling out the murder weapon and announcing something,
Oh.
How crazy would that be?
Oh, I hope so. Hope it happens tomorrow.
Oh, man. You guys got a promise to, come on with the live stream and have, a shot or, smoke a cigar or some champagne. Just something really cool,
Yeah, we'll do a round table.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do a round table shot.
I'm in.
Fancy just sent you something too. You got a $10 from Fancy.
Super sticker. Thank you, Fancy. Appreciate that. All right, you guys heard it. Fig and CD promised.
Yeah,
I will be here.
Let's get it solved.
Round table shots and cigars when the case is solved.
There.
All right, guys.
It's almost 1:30. I know you're tired. Yep. So I'm shot. I'm going to shut her down.
Well, let's end it like this. Let me clear this out of here. All right. Well, I'm signing off. Thank everybody for joining us, participating in the chat. Fig, CD, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out.
You're welcome.
All right.
Man.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Take it easy.
Good night, everybody.